Good morning. Reed here, back at Orchestra Farm, a pre-work walkabout, see what's growing today. There's some geese in the distance just a moment ago. And thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing to the channel today. Really appreciate all that, and thanks for all the comments people are putting in. I'm thinking a lot about expertise and being an expert. I was recently asked by a fellow who specializes in water systems, gray water, and oh, there's the heron. You see that heron flying off? That's so cool. Well, what's your expertise? And I found myself almost like a little taken aback. And I was on the site doing consulting and design for this, what amounts to a homestead retreat center. And my taken abackness is a lot around this notion of when you go into these things, even if one knows a lot, there's a lifetime's worth of knowledge to gain. And actually, let's really make that plural. Like, you can't learn it all in a single life. And so, no matter how much we learn, there's always going to be more to learn. And that's part of what I love about it, is that it is this ever ongoing process. And that notion of being open to learn more, to recognizing that there is so much more, I find really stimulating and exciting. And also recognizing that, like, yeah, I come with, a bit more than a decade's worth of experience in these realms, and also recognizing, like, hey, there's certain people that are more experts than me. Like, when it comes to solar and energy systems, like, I know a little bit, but if someone wanted me to set that up, I'd be like, no, we're going to call a person who specializes in that to do it. And the ability to recognize, like, where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are makes for a better person to be consulting with. And as I'm working on this project, the knowledge that I actually need to be aware of, like, my client's lifestyle. Like, how much energy are they gonna want to be putting into any number of things? Like, if you have an orchard, as a for instance, how much pruning do you want to be doing? How much upkeep are you want to be doing? How much fertility do you want to be adding? And to be able to set a system up so that, hey, check this out, the elderberry is leafing out there. That's exciting. All those dynamics really play into how one designs the system, along with, like, oh, is there going to be other people helping with this? If so, what are their time frames for that? There's a lot of factors, along with the time scale that is enormous. I mean, when you're planting a tree that will live 200 plus years, depending on the tree, that's a lot of time. And there's the notion of thinking in 7 generational terms. And I was telling my client, I've had what amounts to a really unrealistic life view for myself, wherein I imagine living 500 years. And, most people would think that's absurd and laughable. But if you actually look at that from a multi-generational standpoint, it's getting closer to that 7 generations outlook. And, I'm at 45 looking at, I'm at a reasonable halfway point in life from average people's perspectives. It's okay to be average people. Nothing wrong with that. But while I'm doing all this, I'm just recognizing that a lot of times people want to claim to be experts at things. And in that, frequently are not acknowledging levels of mystery that are present, or the notion that, like, yeah, you might have to go and do extra research on a given topic, or go and gain extra experience from someone who's more experienced than yourself. And thinking that I'm an expert at something just feels arrogant. And I don't think that'll change even when I am 90 or 150 or whatever the age sequence is. Because I just realize there's so much more to learn. And if I close myself off from that, that actually is what feels like death. And I'm not all that interested in death from its actuality standpoint, more just from its practicality standpoint. Like, yeah, most people, most things die at some point in time. And how are we leaving the world behind us from that space? You know, I've had different losses in my own life, and I've mostly been far away from them. But that idea of you want to plan your exit strategy is an important one. And when it's a land-based project, maybe it's like, yeah, I'll do this project for the next 20 years, but then I'm going to move off and let the next generation of people take it over. Okay, well, how are we setting that up so that there's the greatest amount of ease for those next people to take it over? All of this in an ideal world is actually considered at the beginning stage. That way you can make the best decisions early on so that in the future it's already dialed in and cared for. And all of that, plus, you know, how you're planting your trees and your, you know, the 7 different layers of a forest system, how you're moving water across your landscape, where your paths and access roads are going, how your buildings are being created and aligned. All those things, along with recognizing that the earth is a pretty massive system. So there's the upstream, downwind, the rain cycles that are occurring. You know, we might think of earth as a closed system, but it's not. There's the sun, there's the moon, there's other celestial objects that at times create an impact on the planet, both physically and energetically. And all of that goes into design of a place. And being able to be mindful of all of that and ask the person different questions so that their own home moves from being an energy suck to more of an asset and something that's life-giving. That's kind of my take on permaculture, is it's a life-giving design science, and the ability to keep all these different pieces in mind while bringing a design together or offering consultation to an individual or a family or a group. That's a lot of what I'm offering. And, you know, it's interesting to feel in myself the sense of I'm uncomfortable with the word expert. At the same time, I'm bringing a wealth of experience and knowledge and ability to listen and observe and reflect back what's taking place with that. That's unique. And depending on your own project and what you're trying to accomplish, may be really helpful at avoiding type 1 errors, which are things that you can't really change after they're done, or even type 2 and type 3. And the notion that that's actually rather invaluable to avoid those things. Anyway, with that, thanks for watching again. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. Hope you all have a fabulous day out there. Check out my website and my music in the description. Have too much fun.